Welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with Gedalia Miller. We've all seen the signage and we've all seen the adverts for the incredible Shabatons advertised by Kesher Nafshi. Besides for the logistics of arranging such weekends, I want to understand what impact these events provide for the attendees and how the journey of launching such intensely scheduled programs evolved and what the vision was from the onset. Kesher Nafshi has embedded itself across dozens of communities globally, providing not just spiritual, emotional and psychological healing to families going through this challenging chapter, but more importantly in its continuously expanding level of inreach to new communities, providing training, events and one-to-one family care, helping struggling teens, their parents, siblings and extended families navigate this journey with understanding, compassion and lasting success. Join me on my conversation with Gedalia Miller as we discover the magic of Kesher Nafshi. Once again, a huge thank you to Maxim Cohen from the UK Finance Group for his continued support of this podcast. I hope you enjoy. The launching of Kesher Nafshi. Obviously, in recent years, we've been seeing the flyers, the adverts, the vast lineup of world-renowned speakers, jam-packed schedules. Describe to me what happens at these events. Take me into the zone and what makes it such a transformative experience. You seem to have built something completely unique. I want to go backstage and understand where it all started and what goes on.
So while we were being trained to be the best parents that we can be for our child, internally, a person needs to get chizuk for themselves. Men go to shul, they have an outlet. They go to work, they have an outlet. Women that go to work, if they are able to speak to their co-workers in confidence, they can have some outlet. But the majority of people don't have an outlet. And even men, if they're not among their peers, they don't have an outlet. Also, just to go to somebody to get hadracha, let's say people that don't go to groups, they only go to their therapist or the professional, they're walking around with pain. As I said, it's beyond human endurance. You're walking around with apartment buildings on your shoulders. And as every time I broached the subject to, at that time, Avi, please, let's do a Shabaton. He says, I don't have a staff, I don't have people, nobody's going to help me, I don't have the money to do it. It's a lot of cost. So he said, I can't do it. This was going on for a couple of years. And at one point, we decided to do a men's barbecue. We did the men's barbecue in my way of doing things. It was all my Michigan ideas. We have to find a good speaker. We got a very good speaker to come down. He spoke from the heart. He spoke personal about his own personal experience with a child that's hurting deeply. It was a very emotional meeting. It was late at night. We actually did it in somebody's backyard that you had to go through the woods to get to because nobody's allowed to see us. Chas v'shulim, like you said about the community at the time, nobody's allowed to know that we're in this pasha. So everybody parked their cars in a park a couple of blocks away, and they walked through the woods, through the back, to come into this person's house in Montebello, in the backyard, and that's what we did it. We had like 3-4 disposable grills that we did it on. It was beautiful. We brought props to put on the table, beautiful, nice picture frames with things. I did it very nice. It was a very upscale event. We launched at that time something we didn't even know. We had 75 people there. We had no idea how many people were going to show up.
It was purely a one-off support event.
To give chizik. We didn't charge anybody any money. If somebody wanted to give me to cover, at that time I was making nice money. I was going to pay for myself for it. So then we did a Malka. Somebody else helped us find a whole Tenafly, Jersey. That one Hasidic Yid living in Tenafly, Jersey. So we're going to go there, and it's in between Borough Park and Monsey.
Right.
So it's like a 40-minute drive for each. And nobody's going to know us, and nobody's going to see us. And we're going to have a Malka there. We brought Y.Y. Jacobson, and it was an unbelievable event. We did a cocktail hour because I figured that there was not enough time for the shul to turn over, that the hall should be ready Matzah Shabbos on time.
To play the time a little bit.
Yeah. So we did a cocktail hour, 2 huge sushi boats. It was beautiful. So it gave them enough time to sit and schmooze outside till we started. We did everything in one room. And then, by the end, they took the wall off, like you have a lot of times, the moving away walls. There was a Venice set up that one of the nicest weddings don't have. It was so much food that it was so late at night all the time. We tell people take boxes home. And then I said, we have to do a Shabaton. So whoever asks us to be Michigan, you don't know what course you're running into. I wanted to have a Baltwil and a choir and do it nice and do it the level that these parents should be contribute to because of what they're going through, the pain. Should be treated as VIPs. I wanted flowers. I wanted... Here's like Michigan flowers, Baltwil, Why? Who needs it? They just want to get together, just have a good time. I'll daven, you'll daven, I'm a batfila. Who cares? What do you need? You don't need a choir. We'll sing together. Let's just have a Shabbos together. We thought maybe 40, 50 couples are going to come. I think we used the 120 rooms. And it was an unbelievable Shabbos. The only person I insisted to bring was Reb Shimon Russell from Israel. But nobody knew, going back to your question, at the launch of this Shabbos, and the first Shabbos was called Kesher, it wasn't even Kesher Nafshi yet. I couldn't find the right wording because our motto was V'nafshik Shura V'nafshi, the relationship between parents and kids.
Yeah.
We saw something called a transformation. I insisted starting on Thursday. We did a challah, the women together with the challah, with the music. But what we saw afterwards, and when I go into your question, a person walks in with so much pain, so much guilt, so much confusion, blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. And you think that you're the worst parent out there. Or just parents that look like this ended up like this. Or people that did this ended up like this. The collective audience that we are, Baruch Hashem, addressing between Svardische, Hasidische, Litvische, Chabad, of all different Hasidus, from the most ultra to the most lax, from both sides of the spectrum to modern Orthodox, they all come. They all feel the warmth that's there. They all feel the non-judgmental. There's no Ivan on. There's no head table. People feel Baal Shabbos that they're part of something that's mamish changes the world. The davening together, the achtes, Friday night, because you're not being judged, because you have a time for tefillah, you have a time for kumzitz, you have time for shalashitas. The women have their times. They have music, dance. It's a combination of anything you would think belongs in therapy, happens throughout that Shabbos. At one point, we had Yontav Glazer come. I can't even go into it. It was so deep.
He's very powerful.
People came out transformed, namish transformed. And I'm telling you, I've had many doctors, therapists that were there for Shabbos. They said the transformation that happens after a Shabbos like this, as a doctor, professionals, we can't do having this person in therapy for a year.
Did you know this before you launched these Shabatons?
No.
Because this is a kind of clinical, the scope of what goes in when a person's not going somewhere to experience something, they're going into something. They're immersing themselves in this 72 hours, 3 days, whatever it is. And you're kind of forced to just go along with that ride and come out at the end a different person.
It's our growth. Tzad Gidel Bonam. Rav Shimon Russell Shlita says, not Tzad Gidel Bonam. Tzad Gidel, comma, Bonam. We should grow. Hashem gives us children. And this is going to be the motto for the Shabbos. The Shabbos is in a couple of weeks now, June 12th to the 15th in New York, in the United States. They're all welcome. Everybody's welcome. It's mamish transformation. Every person gets an opportunity for free to meet with therapists throughout the Shabbos. We just added on something called blended families. Many people, unfortunately, this hits when they remarry, and now one of the spouses brings in a child that was healthy, and then all of a sudden falls off the rails, and now you're stuck with that that child, wow. and it's not your child. And how are you supposed to relate to it? We also address something in Klal Yisrael that we can't talk about. V'ameir and Yovan, we have those sessions at our Shabaton for Shteitz with Das Torah. Das Torah means side from the Chassidische Welt and side from the Litvische Welt. They have the biggest Gedalia behind us, telling us what to do. We had a siblings program at our Shabatons. We had girls from 14 to 20, and then we had a new group we did once all the way up to 30 girls that are 30 years old, and married couples we had. We did it to help these children. We, Baruch Hashem, have now almost probably 12 or 13 of these children that are married, Baruch Hashem, healthy, and they could have never been another statistic. We have grandparents that come to the Shabatons.
It's just building out all these layers. Mezbush, was Mezbush a big marker on the calendar for the growth journey of Kesher Nafshi?
So if you want to talk about Mezbush, let me explain to you what happened. When we started out Kesher Nafshi, like I said, it was once a year to do a Shabaton for parents. It was easier for me to raise funds for once a year. The money at the time we needed, basically, it was the shortfall between the parents that couldn't afford to pay full price, between all the rooms that we have to cover, between the speakers, the tickets to bring the speakers in. So we had once a year Shabbos. When we hit our third Shabaton, it was supposed to be like this Shabbos like Baimer. Baimer was, I think, Thursday, and Shabbos was supposed to be the Shabbos. And we booked it in the Crown Plaza today called the Almond Hotel in Connecticut. We started getting a lot of sign-ups early because we wanted to give people payment plans. COVID hit, we couldn't do it. And COVID hit in March. We figured by May it's over. How long does it last? Like any cold, it goes over. After a few weeks, it's done, finished. My shver was in an ECMO machine. My father was not well, and it was tichto, But we said, okay, so we'll push it off. We pushed it off once to August, right after Tisha B'Av, in Eitchel. They kept on coming down that it's coming back and it's this and that. We pushed it off to November. So now we lost already from April to November. We lost already from our cycle half a year. So now it's going to be a year and a half, so we didn't do a Shabbaton. And the people from England wanted to come. Several of them had shown interest. We were going to have about 11 couples coming, and they can't come in because they're not letting them in. And all of a sudden, that I'm pushing it off. Finally, we did one. A health inspector showed up while everybody's eating Tayamei in the lobby. Don't have to tell you what that looks like. The restrictions are 10 people in a room, 25 max, no food. Everybody has to wear masks. Everybody is sitting together and eating. I walked outside and I said, Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm not doing this for COVID. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for fame. It's Erev Shabbos in the winter. They're up 2 hours away from any place that they can even go back to stay. If they shut us down now at 3, 4 in the afternoon, there's manas in an hour, and I still have people coming up for Shabbos. What's next? I remember standing outside. It's 20 degrees outside, cold like anything. What am I doing? There's no answer you can give a health inspector to allow this to go on. So I called Kula Rebbe. He says, "Go over ITIS, V'haim Tevin," or whatever. I don't remember now the wording. He says, I put $180 into the Ma'abel Anas. He was being very demanding. Where's the guys? Nobody knows what happened. All of a sudden, the other manager that was running the Shabbos says to him, come, talk to me, what do you need? So I have to go look at the sewer. I have to go check something. It made 0 sense what he said, and when he went away. He just said to them, so I'm the health department. Make sure the building department doesn't find out about it. So move all the cars away from here. He took 3 goyim. Within 10 minutes, there was not one car in front of the hotel. Everything went to the back. He had a beautiful, beautiful, unbelievable Shabbos. So let's fast forward to Mezbish. So following year, we're going to have a new Shabaton 6 months later because we have to go back to original cycle. Biden is president, doesn't let anybody in. What are we going to do? These guys never are coming to a point where UP, which is Shani Lissa, has a whole group of parents that need to come to our Shabaton. So I came up with a Michigan idea. We're going to do an Asiya together with the Shabaton. Shabbos is going to be the actual Shabaton, and then Asiya is going to be going into the Shabaton. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to do Badichev, Mezbish, Oman, and drive and go home afterwards. Took over the whole Mezbish. I said, I can't have anybody there because people are going to see people there. They're not going to come back anymore. I shut down Mezbish. You know what that means? 300 and something beds. I closed down the place. And I had a team over here, Yoedi Schwartz, that you know about, Chaim David Hoffman, Motri Groskop. They were all working towards getting people to come. Mrs. Lissa did an unbelievable job and helped people come, and she helped them pay for them coming. The majority of the people were from here, from Manchester. They all coming to the van to take them to the airport. I said, what are you doing here? What are you doing? They were starting to get ashamed. I said, no, I also have a child that's struggling. I also have a child that's struggling. Nobody knew of each other that they're having a child that's struggling. And all of a sudden, these 20 families are finding themselves by the van to go to the airport. The transformation that happened from tefillah, from davening, from being on the buses, the singing that went on. We took along my mother. We're B'ditchev, so I took along my mother for the trip. For her to come to B'ditchev. My daughter was the party planner. She transformed the whole hall there. And we brought a chalabek. So we brought somebody from Tzol, a Rit. We brought Miriam Israeli. She came, she sang beautifully, and she varme challah Friday morning.
This was Kesher Nafshi on steroids. This was
I'm
a whole
telling you,
different...
you have no idea the Michigassen. We started off in Berdichev, right? So it's a 3-hour drive to Berdichev. The people who came from England came the first, right? Or the people from Israel. So we had a place where they went first. I don't remember the name. Next to the airport, about a half an hour away from the airport. So they went there first. It was a place to be davening, and we had breakfast there, everything set up over there. We go to Berdichev, and my daughter, we are Berdichev Einiglich. My daughter's name is Surah Sasha. Her son is Lavitza with Surah Sasha. So I said to the guy, do whatever you can. I want my daughter to experience Berdichev. Berdichev Einiglich, she said she wants to name her son after Berdichev. Let her also experience it. She came to the Tzion, and she was like, wow, the music, the singing. We had a reception first, so everybody had food. Nobody was hungry. She was so emotional that she wanted to light candles for her children. You see, the panemius of a person comes out when you have these type of events. Then we got to Meshbish at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we gave dinner. And after dinner, we had komzits from Otto Frank till 3, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. So the whole time there was cake, coffee, tea, drinks. We had our first Meshbish Shabbos, 190-something people.
Wow. And that etched in stone.
Yeah,
the capacity, the capabilities of
because we brought people from Etzisrol, we brought people from London, we brought people from America. A lot of people that would not come to a Shabbos over here because of the stigma being seen at a Shabbos came to such a Shabaton. I had a woman that told everybody, yeah, I'm just here because my husband knows Gedalia Miller and he heard he's doing an Asiyah, so he came. More than one person like that.
What's changed? Tell me what happens the day after.
The experience that I've heard back from people, and I get messages and text messages. We have a chat. We have Baruch Hashem, a men's chat. We have a women's chat. We have a chat for Adrocha, Halocha. I have different chats. As a parent, first of all, especially the ones that come the first time, that never went to any trainings, anything. The first day is dedicated on crisis chinuch. Full couple of hours just for them to understand what the child goes through. It's a full PowerPoint presentation by Reb Shimon Russell, very guarded of what to say, what not to say, really deeply understanding your child. People are coming back more than once, don't need to keep on hearing the same drasha. So we have group sessions at the time. For people that are more experienced, we have different group sessions going on at the same time, that people are able to express themselves and get chizik and give chizik to each other. So the time is very well spent. The first day, at night, the men have a komzitz, late at night. A Sheis Tab come, or a YY, or a Moshe Weinberger Shlita. So we use that opportunity of different speakers that can only come Thursday. And then we have a komzitz at night, late at night. And we versteht sich. Everything comes with food. We had now the last time, Rabbi Kalish from Waterbury came with 30 boys. So I knew it's hard to get him. So I said, we're doing a Lail Shishi for all your boys. He said, no, I'm only going to bring 30 boys. I was prepared for them to bring more. It was beautiful. It was late at night.
Very musical yeshiva, isn't it?
Yeah. So we had guitars there, and they bring as many guitars as you want. And we had our own music. We had our sound system set up with lighting and everything. We had Dr. Friedman from Etzisrol, psychiatrist.
Yes.
So he asked somebody to bring a hoodie, and he put on a Waterbury hoodie. And listen to what he said. He says, not chas v'sholem that I showed up in Waterbury, that I ended up in Waterbury. Or chas v'sholem that I ended up in Kesher Nafshi. It's chas v'sholem if I didn't end up in Waterbury. He showed the boys to relate to it. A Shabbos like this, you're coming into a Shabaton, you have to know that there's every minute something else happening. It's not something that I knew what I was doing, but it's by design. People say I'm spending money on things that don't have to be there. It's not true. We want to do a very long Shalashudis. But instead of having Havdalah and then doing drushes afterwards till Malka, we can't set up Malka till late because the caterer and the hotel has to have 2 hours or 3 hours minimum from when the Zman is to be able to set up a proper Malka. So what we're doing is we're going to have Shalashudis in the shul for the men, and somewhere else the ladies are going to have a different building. And I gave an idea that as soon as it's the Zman, once it's Shabbos, they should make Havdalah for the ladies and give them music to dance away. Just to dance out, or something fun for the women. But just for them to have that opportunity to give themselves out after so much stress. And then we're going to go into Malav Malka.
The energy must be incredible. I saw some content online of Lipa Schmalzer doing some singing on a Matzah Shabbos. And obviously the cameras aren't panning the crowd because it's very confidential. But you can just feel the energy that he's drawing out of the people and how they're connecting to his lyrics, a remarkable thing. Just before we get towards winding down, I just want to break down the different pillars, because you mentioned Sharon Russell, you've mentioned Avi Fishoff, you mentioned unconditional parenting, Kesher Nafshi. There seems to be so many different angles over here. Do you want to just break down very briefly the different pillars, the different people, and how it all works together?
I have Moirid Gakura Satayv to Avi Fishoff. I started out, there was nothing out there. And at that time, we felt that it's crucial to find a person that understands this mahalach, and what to do, what not to do. I have the utmost, greatest respect for what he's doing. When we did our first Shabaton, because I had the opportunity to listen to Reb Shimon, and it was more about chizik, and more about the mahalach of attachment, to be able to attach to the children, to be able to, as a parent, to do the work. I felt one person that spoke to my heart and understands from a deeper level. I didn't know at the time that 6 out of 8 of his children had a struggle. I didn't know that he was going through it himself. I felt he should be the one speaking at the Shabaton. My second year, we already had a name, Kesher Nafshi, V'nafshi, Kshira B'nafshi, the relationship in a parent to a child. But we knew right away that if we want to be able to attract the masses, it cannot be affiliated with a mahalach. It has to be a standalone organization. They all want one thing, a relationship with parents with a child. Rabbi Shimon Russell was extremely clear that he does not give hadracha. He gives understanding. People should understand what it is, what it's about, why we do what we do, those type of things. Rabbi Avi was at our Ola Shabatons in the sidelines. He didn't want to speak. He was very careful not to give hadracha to parents that are not under his guidance, because he doesn't want backlash. Also, because of his situation in the past with different communities, he felt it's the right thing to do. It should not be a twisted parenting, Avi Fishoff Shabbos. It evolved that Kesher Nafshi stayed standalone. You asked me before about Meshbish, for instance. So we had 3 couples at that Shabbaton that came from England. One is Yodi Schwartz, which came as a person dealing with kids of the derech. He didn't have any kids of the derech, but he came, I didn't know. And 2 other couples, one's Chaim Hoffman, was part of the team, and another person, Baruch Hashem, his son is now Baruch Hashem married, that they came for that. Yoeli went to go get trained by Rabbi Avi. I don't believe that Shani Lissa was at the Shabbos. I don't remember. I don't think she came. But she was being trained by Avi, or listening to his mahalach, and opened unconditional parenting. Eventually, she does good work, but it was very much aligned with what Avi is doing. So we felt Kesher Nafshi, in order to be able to be part of the masses, to be organon by everybody, and to stay in line with what the Klal Yisrael wants and needs, is not to follow a mahalach. We have a drucha, we have chizik, we have therapists that come, we have rabbanim that come, and as long as we stayed within the realm of not giving people a drucha and halacha things, that we are promoting one mahalach, we'll be fine. And that's what happened. Yeah. Yes, we had bumps in the road. People said that we are part of it.
Can I ask what the issues are, or what people are concerned about with this?
The issue they have is they don't have a full understanding what Avi Fisher was about. It's usually people that never sat down with him to understand of why he's saying what he's saying. And like any good thing that you want to try to do in Klal Yisrael, you're going to have somebody or some people that are going to say that you're doing it wrong, especially when it goes against the grain.
Right.
So again, I'm not here to say that what he's doing is right or wrong. It's the 10 or 20% where they don't understand what he's doing, that they are against it, or they might be even right. I don't know.
Right.
But at the
Just
end of the day,
for the sake of Kesher Nafshi to be that
Kesher Nafshi has to
standalone,
be its own.
independent. Yeah.
Because we went to Das Torah, so we got Baruch Hashem Rab Rodney behind us, we got Rabbi Deutsch now. They're not endorsing us officially, but having Rab Rodney come speak by our last event,
right. That's all you
and
need.
very strongly endorsing us at the event. For instance, London, you asked me about being on the map. I have a whole bunch of Askanim here. We had got the whole Kedasia together in a room. I spoke to them, Reb Shimon Russell spoke, and they all said, yeah, we have to do a training, we have to learn. And they were all fully behind us doing a training separately for parents and separately for Mechanechim. And we did 2 or 3 trainings already in London, in Stamford Hill, with the Rabbanim, with the Mechanechim, with the parents.
I think it's remarkable that they're open to accept, from across the pond to come and teach us something new. It probably wasn't easy for you to break in and
we had
achieve
Rabbi
that.
Schwartz, Shlita, is here now for Shabbos. He's not well, but he came anyway. He pushed himself to come. Sat privately with the Rabbanim Stamford Hill, the Rabbanim in Golders Green, the Rabbanim here in Manchester, to answer the questions, the tough questions. Like I said, we are a standalone organization by design. Reb Avi Fisher only takes stage 4, which means the kid is out of the system, completely Michal Shabbos with Pharesia, many of them never have tattoos, piercings, girlfriends, boyfriends, on drugs. That's the clientele that he takes.
Right.
So to rip him apart and say he's doing something wrong or right, nobody can tell me that they can do something different or better while he's...
The fact that he's
people
doing
are going
it,
through what they're going through.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I agree with everything he does, but to go rip him apart for it is mamish not ausgehalten. Till you don't really sit down and know. So the same thing is with UP. Baruch Hashem, she does a very good job, and she is also dealing with mostly with that stage of stage 4. Kesher Nafshi, Baruch Hashem, has evolved, even though we started out with people that had kids completely off the derech. We, Baruch Hashem, have now many parents that come to us. The taboo that I felt 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago now, going to the 11th year, of dealing with this type of stuff, that nobody spoke about it and it was only in the closet and people did not know about it, like that kid Nebuch, that's a Down syndrome kid that nobody knows that the person has it because it's contagious and people are not going to want to be mishadach. So many parents that come in the early stages. We have a mashpia on these families that they keep in the kid at home. The family is growing from it, having hashpah on early stages. Where you have somebody that's just starting out, and tomorrow you're going to go buy her a mini skirt, or you're going to go allow boys and girls to come into the house because they just started out. No, maybe we can do a lot of different things beforehand to build a relationship properly. Like I said before, to have this boy go back into school, like in the yeshiva. I had now a girl here in London, right, in Stamford Hill. Baruch Hashem, they called me in the beginning stages. I was here for a chasana pinkt. I came, sat with him with the meal. And at that time, his daughter was struggling in a Heimish Chassidish school. We hooked him up with the right help. She moved now into Lubavitch school. So, will she stay from if she's in Lubavitch? I think so. The worst thing, she might start lighting candles Friday night.
You've put her where she needs to be.
Hashem,
Be
yes, she's happy and she's back in school. Because we know and we're trained and we're able to help these parents, it's a huge difference. It's a deal breaker. It's mamash a game changer.
Unbelievable.
We started Kesher Nafshi doing once a year a Shabaton to give chizik to parents that were dealing with kids that were completely out of the system, completely not being shaima anything. Post our third Shabaton, we were able to evolve into having a Shabaton for parents that are dealing with children that are going off the derech, not that are off the derech. We have that as well. But we're able to attract parents that are in the beginning stages in extreme painful situations where they're still in school. Some days they're not even going to school. They might be going only 2 days a week, 3 days a week. And we have to thank the moisters for keeping these children to school. The moisters are being trained. In addition to that, besides having the Shabatons at that time once a year, we added another 2 Shabatons a year. We added an Asiyah that we take parents to be able to do tefillah, to be able to go to tzaddikim, to mekaymes ekdashim. Also, many parents would not come to a Shabbaton that's localized. They have to go away. It's a different experience. And they feel connected. They feel they're not just going because they have a kid off the derech. They're going for tefillah and everything else. They're able to come, and we were able to attract from England, from Israel, from Antwerp, from Switzerland, we just had, from Australia, we had people come. All over the world, they come to one place, they're traveling, they get to build everlasting relationships with different people, different walks of life in Klal Yisrael, and that gives them the chizik. In Brooklyn, we have about 4 support groups, separate men, separate women. When I said Brooklyn, I meant to say Borough Park. We have in Flatbush, we have in Williamsburg, we have in Borough Park for men, Borough Park for women. Separate ones, every 2 weeks, we have sessions going on all over the place. Muncie, we have over 150 women in Muncie alone getting together every 2 weeks, not 150 at a time.
Right.
We opened up a group now in New Square. We have a group in Monroe. And the same is now with Cleveland, Chicago, Toronto, and Baltimore. Addition to our support groups that are going on throughout the year, we have a halacha chat. We have 2 rabbanim that are on there. We have additional rabbanim that are willing to answer shilas that's going on. There's a new helpline that they opened up that people can call in that are going through a hard time. There's now also through A.Y. Goldman, there's a suicide hotline. And in addition to that, what we are doing, that we're doing this for the last 5 years, we do what's called in-reach. We go into communities, and at any community that calls us, that wants us to come, we're willing and want to do this. We can't financially support it, that we pay the whole bill, but we are going to be there supporting with my staff and everything else. We are going into communities. So if you have a community, like we got a call yesterday, and it's been going on for a while from Montreal, they want us to come. We were on the phone yesterday trying to set this up. In Chicago alone, we had a couple of couples. It was a very small team, 30 people, maybe the whole families that were there. They wanted us to come for Shabbos, but we impacted a special training for Rabbanim on a Friday afternoon, a few hours in the summer. 2.5 hours for Rabbanim to come together, 30 Rabbanim in Chicago, unheard of. We had a separate training for Mechanchem, and then a separate training for parents. Addition to, we did community awareness on addiction. Shabbos afternoon, we had 250 people in the Aguda, Shabbos afternoon for a training. Thursday night, we did something on Shalom Bayis. We had somebody's backyard. We did a barbecue. We had 165 parents there. So when we go into a community, we impact the community. We change the community. We change the way the community looks at it. None of these are fundraisers. These are not money-making opportunities for us. We did now in Toronto, did the same thing. We had a Sifa Sarabon on a Friday, 11 o'clock, I think it was at 12 o'clock. They came, it was in the winter. We did a separate one for Mechanchem. We had an initial training for parents. Somebody gave us their home. We had a beautiful event for parents for Crisis Chinuch. And Sunday, a full day training on Crisis Chinuch. It was unbelievable.
The success you can't even measure in numbers, because the preventative and the in-reach, you're fixing things at the core before they might even be showing.
Before Pesach, we did something on how to be able to navigate the Pesach. Siblings are in a tremendous amount of pain because they don't understand why their parents are all of a sudden giving attention to one kid, not understanding why are we allowing certain things that were mamish kodesh by us that we didn't allow. And I'm not talking about things that are against halachas, against our Messiah, what we are used to. And especially when this kid is getting attention. He's doing something that's not ausgehalten and still getting attention for it. When they're going to face a yontif now, at that time I think it was Rosh Hashanah Kippur Sukkos, with this child home, and many of these boys are not even home. They're already learning Amir and learning yeshivas, and they're doing well. And then they have this kid that's home and is doing nothing, and then they're feeling like they finally have the Bein Hazmanim. They want to have the time for themselves, and now we have this kid to deal with. It's very hard for them, especially if it's unfortunately sometimes a girl and it's not dressed sneers and they don't know how to deal with it. And these are real ultra chassidische bachurim. We get their Das Torah involved, and they should speak to the Das Torah to get chizik from them as well. But the Das Torah gives them the logical reason of why they should accept their brother or their sister. The emotional part, and for them to understand it on an emotional level, what their sister, what the sibling is going through, or their brother, they don't understand. So they sit with me or sit with somebody else, and I was shocked. I had a professional, I don't know if he wants me to say his name, so I'm not going to say his name. He came driving down to Bar Park. This was Erev Shabbos, I'll tell you, Erev Pesach. I met the Chassidish in Geban Bar Park. He says to me, I have to tell you something. He said, this person came down to my home. He sat with each individual of my children separately to hear them out, to speak to them, and to understand the challenge of their brother that's not keeping anything in his home. He said, I thought he's going to charge a few $1,000s. He says to me $180. I said, I gave him $500. The traveling, the gas, the cost, the tolls, and his time was more than that. We're here to help people. And he says, I'm going into Yontif feeling it's going to be a different Yontif. That all my siblings are going to stand their brother. He's going to be able to come to the Pesach Seder, whichever way he's going to be dressed. But he's going to feel the envelope of love and Kedusha that everybody is radiating from these conversations, that he won't feel judged. He'll feel he's part of the family. That's the healing part. That's the chizik that we give them. There's not shaykh to have this by somebody just old school telling you, do this or do that. It's the deep understanding of understanding these children. That's the healing.
And that's the work of Kesher Nafshi. Unbelievable. Gedalia, it's been incredible, and I think we can probably go for another couple of hours, but it's Erev Shabbos, and you've got a very, very busy, long weekend ahead of you. Before we close, very briefly, can you give us a one-liner? If a parent who's going through this experience is listening to this episode, what would you want them to take out of this conversation?
So I would like to share with you my thoughts. First of all, my heart goes out to you as a family. of what you're going through. It's something that's going on all over the world. This is an asoin hadar. It's an asoin that I don't think our parents or grandparents had to deal with. Yes, I would say that before the war, more than 50% were off the derech. But these kids left the home. They didn't come back. Now we are dealing with this head-on on everyday basis. You know this child is going to want to come dressed the way they're dressed to the chasana, to the simchas. They want to be in our home. How can we make this happen? It's extremely painful. But if we can take ourselves out of the equation of the guilt, of the shame, of the feeling that we did something wrong, and that's why they are this way, you have a couple of other children that are doing well. Understand that when you have 5 children, or 4, or 3, or 8, or 10, and this child is going through a hard time, it's the child's journey. But also be aware that the Zohar Kodesh says that before we come down this world, Hashem shows us as a neshama of what we're going to go through in our life. And we pick to come down this world for our tikkun and neshama, to be able to fulfill what's important to us. Part of that equation is having a child that's going through a hard time, that it's our avodas hakodesh to do this work with this child. And possibly, we won't even get credit for the other children. We will get credit for what we do for this particular child. As painful as it is, as hard as it is, I can promise you that when this will be Me'ez Hashem, you'll be matzliach with this child. And matzliach doesn't mean they're going to be wearing vasa zakon or shtreimel. Matzliach means that they're going to be able to fulfill what Hashem sent them down for their fulfillment in life. And it might not look like the picture you wanted under your chuppah, but I can guarantee you in Shemayim they're smiling down at you for doing this avodas hakodesh. It's not easy, but I can guarantee you that by doing this work, you will show Hashem that you have fulfilled your purpose in life by helping them fulfill their purpose in life. Never ever look down at your child for what they're going through. They have not chosen this life. Nobody chose to go for there because they have nice parents, or vice versa. They have extreme pain they're going through. We are here to help them. We are to make them great again. And with the chizuk that we can give, the love that we can give, they only have parents. No other therapist, no other professional could do the work that we can do. And sometimes as parents, it's going to be extremely painful to do the work. Shev al tasa odef. Doing nothing is also doing something. By not reacting, by not saying the wrong words, it's extremely powerful. Because when a child knows they messed up, and the parent just tolerates them, that's there for them, that gives them that hug. When they messed up, when they had a car accident with your car on Shabbos afternoon, and you don't say anything, and all you say is, I'm happy that you're okay. That is extremely powerful. You don't need drushas. They've heard drushas all their life. You don't need hadrocha to tell them what they need to do in chinuch because they know everything that you believe in. They don't have an issue with understanding. Be there, love them, and you will, Be'ez Hashem, see Yeshuas, Refuas, Naches, Rocha, and Atzlocha. And with this work, we will be the one responsible for bringing Mashiach Tzidkenu.
Beautiful. Gedalia, thank you so much for your time. If people want to learn more about the work of Kesher Nafshi, find support, resources, events, videos, articles, or most importantly, to donate and try and support, if they can, the work you're doing, it's visiting keshernafshi.org, and they can learn more and discover more about the incredible and impactful work that you are doing along with your team. Hashem should give you bracha for this coming Shabbos, for all the coming Shabbos, all the immeasurable work that you are doing for the community across America, across the world. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for the opportunity.